Good. So I kind of threw this together at the last moment. I kind of finished it on the 401 on the way here in the front seat. And so some of the slides might be out of order, so I'm going to try to play along as I go. So I'm going to... I'm going to basically explain my entrepreneurial adventure. There's a little bit of a story about behind it, how I started my businesses. All up until now. Right now I'm 22 years old. I'm currently a student at Wilfrid Laurier University. So essentially I'm going to talk a bit about BuildMyLinear.com later, but I'm going to talk about where I came from and like when I knew I was entrepreneurial. And I swear to you, ever since I was 5 years old, I have been entrepreneurial. I started out, I didn't know what entrepreneurship was, but my mother told me that you can make clay from sand at the local playground. So I dug up a whole bunch of clay and I knew you could make pottery from clay. So I thought this would be the perfect product. I'm going to go sell it to a whole bunch of moms around the area for 10 cents a piece. Nobody bought it from me, but I learned some lessons in sales when I was 5 years old. I then did ice cream sales with my sister at my cottage, and we went to go sell ice cream to people. 1 year we made 50 cents profit, and it was like the best feeling ever. We broke even within our first day. So the next one was my first contract I made. It was that winter that there was no snow, and my neighbor thought I was going to be really smart and say, "Hey, I'll give you 20 bucks if you do my driveway for the entire winter." And made that contract, and I did this driveway once the entire winter. So that was a very successful contract as well. All throughout high school and elementary school, I was a straight F student. I got Fs through everything. I almost failed grade 8, and they had to call my parents in because they said I'm not really going anywhere, and I was always the class clown at school, so I was always disturbing the class, and I could never pay attention to anything, and I think a lot of entrepreneurs can understand that same kind of feeling. It wasn't until my mom's, I thought I was going into acting. My mom put me in the theater, and it wasn't until the summer of grade 9, 10, when my mom made me read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I walked into the house, I read the entire book in the hammock at my cottage, and I walked into the house and I said, "Mom, I've been wasting my life." And I was only like 12 years old. But she always tells her friends that story up until today. So from that point on, I said, I'm definitely being an entrepreneur. I started becoming financially literate, so I started reading the newspaper every day. I joined Junior Achievement that year, and I became president of my company within that first year at Junior Achievement. And we got Company of the Year, I got President of the Year, and I was like, this is for me for sure. I was so excited. And through Junior Achievement, I met this man. His name's Charles Jurvinsky. I don't know if you guys have heard of him, but he's former owner of Flamborough Downs Racetrack, and he's worth a couple $100 million. And he started, I told him one day that I teach old people how to use computers, and now I've made up a business on the spot. And he said, oh, I need that, so you might as well come over. So we started hanging out when I was 16 years old, and I thought it was the best feeling in the world. He became my mentor, and almost like my grandfather. So we're still really good friends today. So he started introducing me into entrepreneurship, and it was one of the most exciting things I'd ever done. Nobody understood at my age what I was thinking about, because after reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, I knew like you can own your own business and make your own money. You don't have to work for somebody else. Like it's not, everybody thinks you have to always work for somebody else your entire life. So I started looking at, I was in grade 10, I started looking at admissions into which universities were entrepreneurial, and I saw that Laurier, the ACE team, they won Entrepreneur School of the Year. And I was like, I definitely want to go to Laurier, but you need an 85 average in order to get into Laurier, and I was still hitting like mid-50s. Like. So finally I said, you know what, I need to figure out how do I get into Laurier. And I'm only in grade 10, right? They're just wondering why I'm going to Laurier admissions, or going to admissions already and looking up like where I was supposed to go, and I was too young. So I ended up making it to grade 11, and I knew I only needed 6 courses with an 85 average or above in order to get into Laurier. So I worked my ass off to get 6 courses with an 85 average and above, and I got an 86 average. So you can see that was the admissions. 86 average, only 6. The rest were like still mid-50s, and they didn't understand how I only got, there was such a big range between them. So I ended up at Laurier, and before I went to Laurier, I was running this little thing. One night I came up with an idea, bumpertize.com. I'm going to start sticking advertisements for local businesses on bumper stickers and pay them a royalty for putting the sticker on. And I launched it within the next day. and I had a form on there, and I started having people sign up because I started spamming social networking sites at the time. I did the whole thing. You pretend you're a girl, and you like come check out my profile, and then they click on your profile. So that was my way of earning. And I had a lot of people sign up. I had about 100 people sign up on my first day. So, but I had no companies that wanted to advertise on the cars. So that kind of was a flop, but it was an interesting experience. So then I knew I was going to Laurier. I had no money. So I decided to go tree planting in Western Canada. And I heard you can make a lot of money if you work really, really hard. So I went out the first summer and I started tree planting. And then, I'm not sure if the next slide's the correct one. Hold on. Yeah, it is. Okay, so the very first week of university, I said, what does every single student in university need that I can do? And I used to work in an ink cartridge refilling business in Milton. So I started Campus Ink, which is basically refilled the cartridges for students on the campus. And they would all come to my dorm, and I was known as the ink man in first year. And almost everybody in my school knew about me as the ink man. And they would stalk me on Facebook before I even met them, which was really cool. But I ended up licensing 8 other students to use the name and do it at their school, so it helped pay for their school as well. And what happened was I started becoming very insensitive to what the value of $1 was, because some nights I would make $200 or $300 just from, I had lineups out my room, and just it was about 95% profit margins, and I was just like making tons and tons of money. And I started spending lots of money as well, so I started losing the value of $1, which really kind of bothered me in a way. So I decided to go back tree planting. And this summer, I planted about 200,000 trees. Oh, here's my Facebook profile for the ink business. Sorry, I don't know what the order is. Anyway, so that was the ink business. I had people, basically Facebook, free advertising. People would come to my residence and I would refill their ink cartridge. This was me after the second time tree planting. I promised myself I would outplant, outstink every single person in the tree planting camp, and I won. And so I planted about 200,000 trees, and I had enough money to come back to school, and I learned the value of $1 that summer, I tell you. So that was me. I don't know why I'm wearing a dress shirt in the middle of a forest, but that's me. Anyway, so I ended up winning the West Nickel Entrepreneurship Competition in Ottawa for Campus Ink, and there was no money involved with that, which kind of sucked. But I had an investor approach me and say he was willing to buy half the company for $50,000, and I'm young and I'm like, holy shit, $50,000! Like, I was really excited about this. But what happened was my grandfather, he said, you know what, I don't want anybody buying any of your company. I'm going to give you a $25,000 loan instead. So my grandfather, it was between me and him, and now it's not obviously, but it was between me and him, and he loaned me $25,000 to start a business. But he said, I don't want you doing ink cartridges. I was going to buy remanufactured ink cartridges and sell them to campus stores. But they would be on consignment, and all the risk would be on me if they didn't sell. So what I did was I looked for a new product that students would want instead, and it was essentially lanyards. And you can see this is one of the ones I sell. But the ones that I thought would sell a lot were they had a USB key embedded inside the belt clip. So students had USB keys and lanyards, so it was both into one. I sold $35,000 that summer in product. And then I launched buildmylanyard.com. So you can see it here. I'm still in university, so I just finished my 3rd year. I'm supposed to be doing my 4th year, but I'm taking the semester off. I've done about $60,000 in sales since its inception. I have no other employees. I outsource everything. So the website was built by developers in Pakistan. I have people finding contacts for me in the Philippines. I pay them above minimum wage there. I'm employing a mother. She's a mother with twins, and she works from home, and she also works with me. We keep in touch on Skype. So so the business is growing really quickly, and it's really awesome. I knew I had to say a lot more. I don't know what I was supposed to say. It's got a feature in the front page of the business section in Waterloo on the Waterloo record. So what's coming next? So what I'm doing is I'm developing an application where everybody's probably been to conferences like this, and you receive name badges like this. Essentially what each person does is when people register on the website, they can customize their own name badge before the conference or event, and then I pre-print all the name badges for the customer, and then they get the lanyards and the name badges put into one, and each person can upload their photo to it, so it's kind of like a face